Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the Cabral and Salisbury Show. My name is Jake Cabral, and with me I have my partner, Mr. Salisbury, or as he likes to be called, Sal. We have a big show planned out for you today, but first I'm going to turn it over to Sal to tell you what we're all about. So take it away, Sal.
Hello everyone, I am Sal. This is going to be one of the many series we'll be doing on this channel. I'll be doing more gaming content, and Jay will be doing more of the contents for you sports fans out there to enjoy. I do also have a personal channel where I upload, of course, gaming-related content. I will put a link down in the comment section if you guys would like to check that out. Without further ado, let's get into the first topic of this podcast, which is business practices by certain gaming companies. In particular, Electronic Arts, EA, I'm sure most of you know them, and one of their lower companies, Capital Games, which created Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, a free-to-play game. I'm not sure if you played it, Jay, in particular, but one of their biggest content creators, Arnold T101, he got his account taken away. One of his bigger accounts that was given to him by someone else who happens to spend thousands upon thousands on the game. And he just got it taken away because I guess it was against their terms of service. And that's fine, you know? If it goes against the terms of service, it goes against the terms of service. Take it away. But this company, what they do is scummy. They basically want them to pay all that money back, and they've been seen to negotiate with cheaters and modders, hackers. And I'm like, my opinion on this is, why would you ban the guy who promotes your game, but you let the cheaters and stuff choose when they get banned, and you choose how long they want to be banned. You let them choose that. I don't think that's right. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I don't understand it either. I mean, here, like you said, you have a guy promoting your game. I mean, yes, okay, he bought a account off of somebody, shared it, whatever,
Hmm.
and yes, that is against policy. However, personally, I think cheating, I would rank that higher, like a more of an offense to the terms and
Hmm.
services than
Right.
sharing accounts.
Right.
So, you
Cause
know,
yeah,
go
go
ahead.
go ahead. So this guy, he posts almost every day. Like he's one of my favorite like content creators for the game. He plays. There's a certain mode, Grand Arena, and he plays the Grand Arena all the time, and he used to use the other account because remember that got taken away. He used to use the other account to test like the new content that would come into the game, like the new characters, because he has all the like the currency because whoever owned the account spent thousands on it, so they had all that extra currency on there, so it allowed him to buy the new characters to test them out for his viewers. And he got that all taken away, and now he has to buy almost everything again with his own hard-earned money get a viewing, to test the new content. And I don't think that's right.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think that's a shame, honestly, um, for Capital Games to do that to him.
Hmm.
I mean, like, it's just
I agree.
I'm kind of at a loss of words, really.
Hmm.
Um, like from the business side, I understand what they're trying to do. I mean, but I
Hmm.
think the bigger issue at hand here are those cheaters, and I think that's where they should be putting all this effort into, rather than
Right.
some guy with a YouTube channel, trying to make a living, trying to
Promoting their
promote the
game.
game. So,
Right. And on top of it, he's having fun. Like his community loves the content. Like even if they don't play the game, they enjoy the content. And not everyone is gonna spend like their whole like bank account to play the game. Maybe they just want to see it, or they want
e-
to see a character before they buy it. And if the guy can, well,
exactly.
I'm sure he can buy it. But if he can't get that character day one when he used to, like with that other account, then what are you gonna? You can't like promote it as much. You know what I'm saying? That's free promotion. Usually, the companies would have to pay top dollar for a promotion like that.
Yeah, exactly. So honestly, I don't understand what they're doing there. Capital Games. I don't understand. I
And
just
yeah, I agree. And the content updates they release, yeah, there's new characters, but I just some of these patches, there's not much being added to the game. We haven't had new content such as a new mode added in a long time. And we've seen this with other games too. I'm sure you're a Madden fan. I
oh
just heard
yes.
recently. Recently, I heard there was like a huge Madden like 21 like issue going on with a recent patch, and I saw like a huge hashtag tweet and all that like going
Yes,
on about that
yes.
like. So I don't know if
Yes.
you want to go more into that.
Hashtag fix Madden franchise. So
Mhm.
basically, for those of you who haven't heard the news about the new Madden 21 game, um, basically Madden released a little video on what to expect for the game, new modes, new content, updates. Face of the franchise, that's going to be very big this year. I'm hearing there's going to be more positions that you can pick your player to play as.
Mhm.
Um, I'm hearing they're bringing back Superstar KO. I know for a fact they're reamping X Factor abilities, all that. But let me get into franchise mode here. Now, franchise mode, they're calling it an update, but from what I saw from the list, it's really just a patch job. I mean, we're not getting any real new content for the game. All right, yes, they played the control, like they fixed the control. Um, they fixed the control. They basically made it like a new playing style. I mean, you could say, but I mean,
Mhm.
other than having more control, which was their big thing, there's really nothing new
Right.
with the content, you know? And
Right.
for me, who I'm a big franchise player, that's what I spend most of my time playing on, and I'm sure there's many more out there. I mean, you have to think there's really only three big modes for the game. Um,
Right.
four if you, I mean, four if you want to include Superstar KO, but really, let's face it, it's all Ultimate Teams, face of the franchise and franchise.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, you got to think at least a 30-year, 30-year players, a third of
Mhm.
your um,
Your player base.
player base. Thank you. A 30. We'll edit it that later. A 30-year player base plays franchise mode. And to sit
Mhm.
there, like I understand. Look, I understand making a game. It's hard. It is hard work. A lot of hours spent into it. A lot of coding. A lot of just
Right.
everything, right?
Right. Yeah.
But you've had a
Right.
year just to give us something, And I know us Madden
Right.
fans. I mean, we're very reasonable. We're not expecting 10 new modes and all this crazy. We're not expecting that. We're expecting, one or two big changes every year, and that's honestly, I think that's reasonable. Um,
Mhm.
but to sit there and just give us a patch job and call it an update, I mean,
Right. Yeah.
it's absurd. It's absurd. But what's
I
your thought
I
on it?
I to I totally agree. Like they shouldn't if they're gonna add like a huge update to promote their game, which is about to be out in like a month. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So for them to promote this game, I think they should have released way more content than they did in that patch. And I'm not a big Madden fan. Like you know me. I don't play sports games that much. And I know
Right.
you are, and I'm sure a lot of people are. But this isn't right. And I did watch a video from a YouTuber, Eric Rayweather. He did
Yes.
say
Yes.
not to buy the game and wait for more content to be added, because from what I see, that franchise mode is going to be dull, from what I understand.
Exactly, and there is some good news here. The Madden franchise mode team, they have released, I believe it's two videos now, basically on what to
Hmm.
expect. They have gotten together. They are working on new content for franchise mode. They have heard
Hmm.
us, so good thing for that. Um, so I mean, honestly, like you said, Sal, like I wouldn't. If you're a franchise mode player, don't buy the game. Just like Eric Wayweather said, don't buy the game. Wait a couple months, see what happens, see what they do, and just go from there.
Right. And if there are any
So
sports fans out there, I do hope that you guys do enjoy the game, and I do hope that there's more content being added, unlike Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and just characters. But other than the Madden 21, I did hear some good news, or I guess some people consider it good news. Cam Newton, you want to talk more about that?
oh yes, Cam Newton to the Patriots. Yes. Now, I will say this: a lot of people I know when Patriots first made the announcement that they signed Cam, a lot of people I know were
Mhm.
excited, thrilled, jumping out of their seats. Yay, we got Cam! We got Cam! And
Right.
I wasn't as excited at first. I'm not gonna lie. And one of my good friends, sat down. And he's like, how come you're not excited for Cam Newton? I mean, it's Cam Newton. And I was honest with him.
Correct.
Honestly, Cam, at times, yeah, is he great? Of course, but there's times where he's very immature.
Hmm.
He's not very motivated. The he just and there's times in the game where he gets frustrated and he just crumbles. Honestly,
Right.
and I mean, let's face it, Cam has never had a back-to-back winning season. Now, somebody's going to turn around and say, "Hey, Carolina had a losing season last year." Right, but how many games did Cam miss? I'm pretty sure it was in the ballpark of 4 to 6. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was 4 to 6 games. And then when he came back, the Panthers actually played worse with him than they did with their backup, Kyle Allen. And then I
Right.
believe Kyle Allen took over for a couple weeks, and then Cam was back in the lineup. And it was just a complete mess last year for Carolina. So somebody could turn around and say, yeah, well, he's due for a winning season. Okay, yeah, maybe. I think if he can be motivated and if
Hmm.
he can become more mature, for instance,
Hmm.
not storming off in press conferences when he gets mad at a question,
Ooh.
not not throwing temper tantrums on the sideline, not
I'm sure. Yeah,
not
that would not go well in the political. Sorry for interrupting. I'm sure that would not go well in a political atmosphere. If someone like of a political status or a higher political status did that, it would not go well for them.
oh no,
But
no,
from what
but
I've seen of, yeah, right.
luckily for Cam, it's a game of football, but I mean, I know a lot of eyes are on him. How now you think I'm being harsh on him? I am just because I know what I've seen of Cam. I will say this though,
Hmm.
I was watching a video a couple days ago, him working out with Julian Edelman. I saw what he posted on his social media. Cam Newton does look motivated. He looks angry, ready to prove his haters wrong. So I'm thrilled to see the season play out. That is if we do have the season, because of COVID and all that. But
Hmm.
I mean, I'm ready to see Cam. I'm ready to see what he's got. If he, and I'm really, I am hoping that he can prove me wrong from when I
Right.
first heard that he was joining the team. And I hope he proves his haters wrong. And I honestly, if he can stay motivated and healthy, I mean, the Patriots are definitely
Hmm.
going to be a playoff team, probably even going to win the division. You know, so
Yeah.
we'll just have to see what happens with that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I totally agree. Like I've seen that in the news, man. That was like top news. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
Cam Newton, I don't like. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not a big football fan, but when I see the news like that, you're gonna know. Jay is sending me messages right when he hears that great news. You know what I'm saying? Like
Absolutely,
Cam Newton,
absolutely.
like he's always talking to me about his favorite players. Now,
Yes.
Cam Newton, I know he's going to the Pats and all, like, and how he storms off from like his press conferences. Again, that would not go well in a political atmosphere. And speaking of politics in sports, you've heard a lot about the Redskins, I'm sure, and what's going on with that, the controversy around their name.
Oh yes, oh yes, yes. The formerly known Washington Redskins, now known as the Washington Football Team. Woo! Luckily,
Oh
that's only
yeah,
going to
the
be
Washington football team.
yeah,
It
yes. Luckily,
strikes
that's
fear in their opponents.
oh yes, a team that just screams 13-3. Oh wait, I'm sorry, 3-13. My bad. Um,
That's tough.
that is really tough. But
Now, I do want to get this out there before we discuss the story. We are in no way trying to be racist or any form. We do support like all the different cultures, of course. The Redskins, though, in my opinion, should have. I'm not into sports, but I think they should have kept their name because, yeah, the Americans do have a very, very deep past with Native Americans, especially with the deaths of over, what is it, hundreds of thousands. Don't quote me on that, by the way.
yeah,
But I think the Redskins more like honors their sacrifice more than anything.
yeah, and I mean, and the whole reason why. All right, let me give you a brief history of the Washington Redskins. Okay,
Hmm.
they were established in 1932 as the Boston Braves. Shortly after, actually, just a year after, they changed their name to the Boston Redskins, and this was to honor their first ever head coach. Now, forgive me, I do not have the name right in front of me. It was a very long time ago, but basically, they wanted to honor him as he was a Native American descent. Um,
Mhm.
and he was a member of the Sioux tribe, and the Sioux tribe, instantly enough, um, was one of the tribes. They had this ritual or tradition before going into battle where they would take this red substance and they would rub it all over their skin, giving them
Mm.
the appearance that they had red skin. And
Okay. Mhm.
that's really where the term redskin comes from. It's from, I believe, the first ever use of that term redskin came all the way back in 1769. Yes.
Ooh.
Um, a Native American tribe located upper in the upper Mississippi Valley. I do not remember the name, but I do remember the chief's name, Chief Mosquito. Yes, I'm not making this up, Chief Mosquito. Um, ba- Basically, he wrote a letter to a white settler in a town nearby, the developing town. Um, Basically asking him to come meet with him. This
Mhm.
Chief Mosquito wanted this white settler to come meet with him to talk. And in this letter, he promises that no harm will come to this settler or his men by any red skin, and he uses the term red skin to describe his own
Mhm.
people. Now, yes, unfortunately, fast forward a little bit in time, and white settlers took the name redskin to describe the scalping and murdering of Native Americans, and that is truly
Right. Right.
unfortunate. And I do not agree with the
What?
use of
Yeah.
redskin in that sense. However,
Right.
when
Right.
talking about the Washington Redskins, they're talking about redskin to honor that tradition that of Native
Right.
American history of their
Mhm.
tradition of before going into battle, using that red substance on their bodies. They're going into battle. Every game is a battle. And
I agree. That's
that's
actually a
what
good
they
way to
were
look at it.
trying to do. They would yes,
That's a good way
and
to look
that's
at
what
it.
they were doing in honoring their first ever head coach, being a member of the
Right.
Sioux tribe. So, your
Good.
take on it,
That's
Sean? Sal?
yeah. That's fine. Well, personally, I just think it would honor that tradition again with putting the chemical or the dust over their skin. And I disavow everything that those white settlers did to those poor Native Americans, because that's not right.
Of course.
And that's in the past. That's in the past, because we don't see people doing that now, of course. And
Exactly.
this is a football team that honors history. And history, that's all we're really gonna have at some point. That's like stuff you can delve in the past, and obviously we're gonna remember that. And you remember their names, and you remember their traditions, and that's how you honor certain things. You know what I'm saying? And
I-
when you honor the Redskins and that tribe, here is a popular football team that probably thousands of people are following. That's really getting the name across and probably prompting people to look up their history. Maybe not, but most people
right.
probably would and say learn something new. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
They
and
they
you know
probably would
what?
honor. They would see that team differently and say, "Oh wow, that I really do like that idea."
Right.
And for them to change that because people find it racist, and don't take me the wrong way, anyone watching this video, because I do love you all. Uh, People who only see race, I think, are more of the racist. Because when I heard that news, I was like, really? Because the Redskins have always been the Redskins. I never really thought anything more of it. It was just a football team where people go and see the people play football. I didn't think sports was more like a setup for politics. I didn't really see it that way. I saw people just tackling each other, throwing the football, to each other, getting points.
Right, and exactly, like we're seeing politics come into sports, and unfortunately, politics is just coming into everything, really. I mean,
I agree.
you look at the Redskins, you look at the story with Aunt Jemima. I mean, Quaker Oats
Right,
getting
right.
Quaker Oats discontinuing Aunt Jemima when because people believe Aunt Jemima celebrates slavery and racism when in reality it
That,
celebrates freedom.
yeah.
You know,
I agree, especially with a black model like that on a popular brand. I think that would be a huge stride in civil rights like that, or not civil rights, like promoting their culture. 'Cause I don't see that as racist at all. I don't know why people would find that racist. If someone could explain that, that'd be fantastic.
right, right. And do
Because
you know the
that's a
name?
black woman on a syrup. I don't know how that's racist in any way. If maybe if it's racist if you didn't like the black person on the bottle, that's a different story.
Of course.
Because
Oh man,
I
but
disavow racism in all forms. Like if you're no matter if you're white, black, green, red, blue, racism is not right. You know what I'm saying?
exactly. We are
No one
all
should partake.
right. We are all
They're all
here. We are all
scumbags.
equal. We are all human.
Right.
Right. And I'm
And we
gonna
should see
ask
each other
you
as human beings.
exactly. And I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you know the name Lillian Richard?
I do
I
not.
I did not expect you to. So, Lillian Richard is one of the few women that portrayed Aunt Jemima throughout the first, oh gosh, 30, 40, 50 years of the brand. Um, and she was a very poor woman, um,
Mhm.
and Quaker Oats. I don't know how they discovered her, but basically they offered her the job. They offered her the job of portraying Aunt Jemima. And with her earnings from portraying
Mhm.
Aunt Jemima, she ended up being very successful, having a nice big home, having a big family, and really did well for herself. And the same
Right.
could be said about the previous women who portrayed Aunt Jemima. They all worked hard and they all became success stories, and the Richard family themselves have been begging Quaker Oats to not change the name or the face on the bottle to keep it as Aunt Jemima because
Mhm.
again this celebrates black pride. It celebrates black
Right.
people, not but black women going off and being successful. And I think
Right.
I would think that's really important,
Mhm.
to celebrate something like that. But
I, s-
again,
I would see
you have
that. Oh, sorry. I would see
uh,
that more as empowering to see a woman of color on a bottle like that on a popular brand. I would see that as empowering and like promoting their culture instead of racist. But go ahead.
but yeah, exactly, and it's a shame that like you have people today who again I'm not really I'm not attacking anybody or I'm not what's the word I want to use here. I'm not trying to start an argument or
Mhm.
I'm not being I'm just saying straightforward like personally I think that Aunt Jemima is something to be celebrated. I think
Mhm.
black women being empowered is something to celebrate, but
Right. Not to go after.
unfortunately though, Quaker Oats will be getting rid of the name and the logo on the bottle. And
Mhm.
it's just another example of people just not understanding
The
history,
point.
not
Yeah.
understanding the point, and I'm not saying they're wrong for their views. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm just saying if you're going to argue for a change of one particular thing, such as the name and logo on a bottle of syrup or the name of a football team, to do the
Mhm.
research, understand the history and the meaning behind the name, behind the
Correct.
logo, and Sean, this might be funny to, oh, sorry, Sal, this might be funny to bring up right now, but do you remember that
Mm.
show back in the 90s, Boy Meets World?
Uh,
Vaguely,
not
at
really.
least? Yeah, okay,
Vaguely.
all right.
Yeah.
All right, well, do you at least remember, well, you probably wouldn't, but the history teacher that they had, Mr. Feeney, played by actor William Daniels. Basically, what I'm just going to say here is we need him now more than ever, okay? Because Because this man, and this is what I love about Boy Meets World. This man taught you a lesson every episode, and these lessons, I mean, they're just timeless. I mean, I just restarted watching the series, thanks to Disney Plus. I just started watching the series again, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the things he's saying. And on one of the previous episodes that I was watching, he says, he's trying to teach Corey in the class about history and understanding history, and what he says is, if we fail to understand history, we are doomed to repeat the past. I'm not saying we're going to entirely repeat the past here, but I think we're definitely, unfortunately, failing to understand history. You know,
Right.
so I am
And
I'm fearful for what the future has to hold. Now, I
I
don't think it's
agree. I totally agree.
I don't think we're going to go back into slavery per se, but
No.
I'm hearing people calling for segregation again. And
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm
not no.
and not to mention you have well, Congress. They just passed the removal of Confederate flags and statues of military generals, soldiers, and people
Hmm.
representing that time because people believe, oh, it celebrates slavery. No, the reason why we have the Confederate flag and why we have these statues of these soldiers and generals and
Hmm.
so on is so that we remember the history, that we remember
Right,
the
and not
past
repeat it.
and not repeat it. Exactly. You know? The whole point of these symbols is to, I guess, create a sense of anger in ourselves of what was done back then and to push
Right.
ourselves to not let it happen again.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, I don't think we should be removing historical artifacts such as that because in the end of the day, the Confederates did lose the war, and that pitted brother against brother. The Civil War was devastating for a lot of people back in that
absolutely.
time period, and it did
Absolutely.
affect obviously today. And when I see people tearing down statues of Abraham Lincoln, like the president that fought more for civil rights or like the end of slavery, that's appalling to me. That's appalling to
It,
me.
I couldn't agree more. Absolutely could not agree more.
And they're leaving statues. These people that are not peacefully protesting nowadays, and this is a completely different, a little bit of a different topic to talk about. They're tearing down statues of Abraham Lincoln, Jesus, for goodness sake, because I guess they symbolize white power or something like that, and I don't see it that way, of course.
I, uh,
I think well, at least Abraham Lincoln, yeah, and that's a significant period of time where he was fought greatly to end slavery. That's what the war was about, you know.
yeah, yeah. I totally
And
hear
in
you.
the end of the day, the Confederates who owned the slaves lost, and we're just making sure that history, again, like you said, does not repeat itself.
Right, and the wise words of Mr. Feeney: if we fail to understand history, we are doomed to repeat the past.
Right.
So,
And I failed to see the point. I mean, obviously, I guess politics are going to find their way into everything, but I failed to see why. Because in the end of the day, people are just here to live life, enjoy whatever media they're sinking their teeth into. Because if I'm playing a video game, I don't want to be pandered to. Because I'm pretty sure this is popular. This is I'm sure you know Call of Duty Warzone, right? The most popular or one of the more popular games out there now.
yeah,
Uh, they actually, I think they said they weren't going to update the game for Black Lives Matter. And yes, Black Lives do matter. Of course they do, right?
exactly. And
Of course Black Lives
I'm
matter.
not gonna say all lives matter because that's just gonna start another debate, And unfortunately,
Right.
and here's why: because unfortunately, a lot of the people who do say all lives matter don't actually mean it. It's a protest against the Black Lives Matter protest.
Correct.
However, so I'm just gonna say what the Bible says, and that is all people are created equal. You know,
Hmm.
and I'm not a very religious person myself, but that is
Yeah,
truly what
me
I
neither.
believe. I believe we are all created equal. So there, and I am one who fights. I would say fights
Hmm.
for equality, for
Right.
true equality, and to, unfortunately, we still have racism. We still have systematic racism, is what they tend to call it.
Systemic.
And just yeah, systemic. um, yes, systemic racism, and
Yeah.
it's it's unfortunate, and I do wish and hope that it is removed. You know,
Right.
but again, I don't agree with.
Because no matter what, there will always be racism. Nowadays, though, in my personal view, and you don't have to agree with me, of course, anyone who's watching, we're all entitled to our own opinions, so you have your view, I have mine. I'm not going to attack anyone in particular for their views, because they're entitled to those views.
Right,
But
yes,
if
and
you...
yes, and everyone's entitled to their view, and I'm glad you brought that up, Sal. I'm glad you brought that up. We're not, again, we're not trying to start any arguments or debates. And, we believe that everybody is entitled to their opinion, and we want people to share their opinion. We want more
Mhm.
people to speak up, but to be civil
Right.
about it. So
Correct.
go ahead.
Yeah, we don't need people fighting in the streets over that because we see now. I think Portland, they were trying to set up an autonomous zone, and Capitol Hill, they had an autonomous zone for the longest time for all these protesting. Not everyone there is peacefully protesting. We have groups like Antifa. I'm sure you've heard of it, Antifa. We
Yep.
have thugs who are burning down cities in the sake of George Floyd. Now, what happened to him obviously was injustice. That cop should rot for doing that. But
Absolutely.
not all police officers are like that, and I'm sure you agree. And I'm sure
I
some
I
people
I
on this
I
video will agree.
I do agree. I personally, I actually have cops in my family who I know go out there and they risk their lives every day to help people.
Right.
And there are cops out there that are good people. And
Hmm.
like I said, I see it within my own family. So I I agree. Like, not all cops are bad. Police brutality is unfortunate, and there should be an end to that as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, but I don't agree. I don't agree with the burning down. I don't agree with burning down buildings and looting companies and all
Right.
for the sake of George Floyd. Again, I am sympathetic
There.
of
Right.
what happened to George Floyd, and I do feel for his family and friends and loved ones, and as you said, I mean, that cop deserves to rot, and I agree with that.
Yeah, and not everyone should be. Oh, not all cops should be treated like him. Obviously, some cops, they're called racist is just by association, by being a cop, and I don't
Yeah,
think
and
that's right because
I
they
don't think
protect
that's
us.
right.
And we've seen in these autonomous zones where there's no police, they can't go inside. There have been murders, there have been rapes, and there have been stolen items and thieveries. And I think that's not entirely what we want in this country. We don't want a huge autonomous zone. You may not like Trump. You could hate him with your guts. Honestly, I think his speeches are okay. I mean, he's not the best speaker in the world, obviously. He doesn't know what comes out of his mouth. And
Yeah, I
sometimes he
do
looks like a
think.
buffoon for it. But the best part about living in America is that you can criticize him. I can call him a buffoon on here and not get arrested for it, like in China or North Korea, where if I were to say something bad about the leader, I'd be in a camp. You know what I'm saying? So
Right,
I think people are very lucky to be living in this country where they can hate Trump, make zones like that, and have politicians, or depending on what side you're on, actually back them up, which is not right. They should be condemning this behavior. It's
it-
because
right,
it's not right.
exactly. It isn't right.
Because you do have a right to protest. You
You
indeed
do,
have the right to protest
of course, but
peacefully, not by
exactly.
burning down cities and getting a pair of Nike shoes for free. That is not protesting. And no, you do not need violence to get your point across. The cop is in jail, and I hope he rots again. But
You
violence will
know,
not get the point across. You're just making it worse for yourselves. Because now I think unmasked agents in Portland were arresting people and they were crying fascist, fascist, fascist. You're the ones burning down the cities because you people don't agree with your mindset. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And most of
and
these, and I'm not going to say I'm Republican. I'm more of a moderate. I just vote for whoever I think is going to do better for the country. Uh, Again,
yeah,
I think Trump is a buffoon sometimes, but not all of his policies are great, honestly. But it's better than what he's going up against. Joe Biden, who can't even remember what position he was going for. He thought he was running for the Senate, which is I found pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think we have two clowns running for office in
Right.
2020, but you know, eh, I mean, I, like I said, I just think Trump, like, if he can watch what he says, hon- honestly, if he has somebody speaking for him, I think that would be better. You know,
Right.
somebody who's gonna watch what they're
Someone
gonna
helping his
say.
advisors at
You know,
least.
like a filter. Just put a filter on Trump. Just have somebody else do
Because
this
I'm pretty sure
talking
he does
for
more
him.
tweeting than doing.
Oh my
You know what
God!
I'm saying?
Don't even get me started on the tweets. I just think Trump should stay off of Twitter. It's
But
ridiculous,
again,
this
here
stuff
we
he
are
says.
criticizing him when we're allowed to
Right,
criticize him.
right, right.
If people don't like the president, they're okay for not wanting to like the president. But again, you should think about where you are instead of calling people entitled because they're white or whatever. How about you see everyone as a human being who like you can like Trump or not, and
Yeah,
be lucky you don't live in China because again you would get arrested or even killed for
right.
that.
Yeah, right. You know, and we might not be the best country, but
Right.
we do have some freedoms. I will say that, and I think again, we're not the best country, but I do think we are better than some, at least some out there. Um, and yes, we have the freedom to criticize, and again, not everybody has to agree. Not everybody has to like Trump or hate Trump or whatever.
Right.
We're all like we keep saying, we're all entitled to our opinion. And I think at the end of the day, if we can just see that, if we can see that we're all humans and we're all different, and that's okay, then
Right.
I think we're gonna be taking a step in the right direction here. But again,
Correct.
just rioting, looting, violence, it's not the answer. I think we just all need to
I agree.
come together and just really take a moment to understand each person's perspective. Take a walk in their shoes for a minute.
Hmm.
See things from their side. And I think if we can
Right.
do that, I think we can come to a better understanding of not only ourselves and each other, but maybe something good could come of this, and you know, maybe down the road in the future, maybe we'll have a better government and better policies
Right.
and laws in place, and maybe things
Maybe
will be more peaceful.
maybe politicians will actually be able to agree on something and work for the people and not themselves.
Right.
Not
Exactly.
work for their pockets, work for the people. Because that's what they're supposed to be working for. They're supposed to be working for the people.
Right.
Everyone, not just one side, not left or right. They're supposed to be working for everyone.
Yeah. So.
And yeah, I guess I agree that, there's going to be conflicting ideas, but in the end of the day, we should have some civil discourse and talk about, like, come to a compromise. Because back then in the day, there's been a few great compromises that have actually gotten us to where we are today. So,
Exactly.
if
Exactly.
politicians can come to compromise instead of yelling at each other and calling each other names in the room, I think this would be a much better country. And
Exactly.
I do hope that politics finds its way out of certain media, and especially in games, because, and I will get into more politics in episode 2. We're going to be probably talking about COVID-19 and BLM, more like that, so make sure you tune into the next episode. Just plugging that in. And we can see the media, there's politics everywhere. You've seen it again in sports, I've seen it in gaming, I'm sure it's in other forms of
It's
media
in
and books and
everything.
stuff like
It's
that,
in
I'm
movies.
sure.
It's in music.
Right, especially movies.
Any form,
Especially movies.
any form of media, entertainment, whatever, you're bound to see politics now. You know,
Right.
and
And
I
I
just
do
think
hate the
politics
fact
has
that
its
if you
place.
disagree with. Yeah, I do hate the fact that I might be considered a racist just for thinking the way I do. That's appalling to me. I can't believe that. And I don't think you should be calling people ists, isms, or something like that just for how they think, because that's just not right, because you're just as bad.
Right.
But in the
Exactly.
end of the day, I do hope to keep the like politics, or one day politics will be out of our media and we can actually enjoy our lives. I actually want to be playing a game without them saying to me that Black Lives Matter, because of course, Black Lives Matter. I don't want to see that. I know that already. And if you don't know
Right.
that, then you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Right.
But recently on Twitch, one of my favorite streamers, Dr. Disrespect, got banned, and this is not really old news because it's still going on. He still doesn't know why he's banned, and people say it's probably because something political he said. Maybe he, behind the scenes he got banned. But if he's saying that he doesn't know, and Twitch isn't giving him a clear answer, then obviously we need some answers ourselves. And I'm
Right.
looking I looked in the terms of service. I don't think political views or having a bad opinion to what Twitch thinks is against their terms of service.
And
Maybe if
I
you're using it in a vulgar fashion, I agree. But when you have streamers that are abusing their pets on stream and they're not getting banned for that just for the fact that they're female, then that's not right, They can abuse their pets, but you have a guy that, you know, loves what he's doing and doesn't abuse anything. It gets
right.
banned for no reason. He gets wiped off the platform. That's suspicious to me.
Exactly.
You
And
know,
you know what? And who's to say? Who's to say that maybe there has been a reason given, just maybe nobody wants to come out with that reason because maybe it's something that a lot of people aren't going to agree with. Maybe it is political, and I mean, with everything else going on in the world right now, with Black Lives Matter, with Corona, with everything, maybe we just don't want to start another, maybe nobody wants to start another large debate here. But it is
right.
very suspicious. It is very, very suspicious, and I mean, I think not only Doctor Disrespect, but I think all of his followers, all of his
Hmm.
subscribers, us even, I think everyone deserves that answer. I think we need to publicly know what the
Right.
reason was for him
For his
getting,
banning. And
yeah, for his
he
banning.
did get banned once before for filming inside of a bathroom, but he did end up back on the platform. This time, again, he was banned for almost no reason, and Twitch refunded all of his subscriptions from his followers, which is totally not right. Because if you don't have any reason to ban them without saying, then why are you taking away their fans' subscriptions? They're paying for that. They want to subscribe to him for his service, for his content, and you're gonna take that away from them. And he already said he's not going back to Twitch, and good for him. Go to YouTube.
Yes, good for
Go
him.
to a different service.
Yeah, 'cause,
Indeed, go
um,
to a different service.
yeah,
For
'cause,
one of
I
my
mean,
favorite streamers, I want the best for him.
yeah, I totally agree with you. I hear you. You know, um, shame on Twitch.
Shame on
I mean,
Twitch. I agree.
but what are you gonna do really? What are you gonna do? You know,
Right. It's,
fortunately, it's not like we have a say. Um, so I think the only thing we can do is just hope for the best for Doctor Disrespect, in
and
his
his
future
family.
endeavors and whatever platform he finds his way onto.
Hmm.
But I definitely agree. Like we definitely deserve an answer. Um, as to what the
And I know,
reason was, and
right. And I know you're not into the games he plays, or you didn't even know he really existed before that until I told you before the show went on. And like you were like, why did that happen? And you even went through the terms of service, and you were like, well, political opinions aren't a reason to get banned. And
yeah,
then we see content creators like Alinity abuse their pets on the stream, and we've had people throwing their cats and dogs around, and they're not getting banned. I wonder why, Twitch.
yeah,
That's not right.
it's just it's
And I'm
not
sorry if
right.
I'm repeating. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry if I repeat it, but I'm very consistent with my views, and if I repeat it, then I'm very heartfelt about what I'm
Yeah,
saying, and I actually
you're very passionate about it, and
right.
I personally, I appreciate your passion for it, and that's why I took the liberty to look into Doctor Disrespect myself and learn more about him and what he does, and I after doing that, I have respect for the man, and again, I wish him the best, um, on whatever.
Right. Well, I do think that was the last topic for today. I do thank you all for tuning in, for listening to our opinions. We thank you a lot. Again, we do want to hear what you think in the comments. Give us some feedback for our first episode. Tell us what we need to improve. Let us know anything else that you want to tell us, even if you want to, you know, not really debate us, but if you have any sources to kind of go against what we say, we'll take a look at them. Even if we don't
Yes,
agree with them, we'll take a look
yeah.
at them, of course.
And
Because we
we're
always want
always
to see different views, points of view.
right. You know, and we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear your opinions. You know, we love that. We love you guys. You know, let just as Sal said. You know, post your opinions, comment on our videos. You know, like let us hear you. All right,
Right.
because you know, I mean, without you guys, we really couldn't be doing this. You know, I know
Correct.
Sal and myself, this is something that we have dreamed of doing for a long time now. And you guys would make it possible. You guys are letting us live out our dreams. So we want to hear you guys as much as we can. So please, please, please tune in to the shows. Please comment with your feedback
Leave
and
your
your
feedback.
opinions. Just let
And
us hear you.
and I thank you all for coming in and watching. We'll see you in next week's episode. We will probably discuss COVID-19, some other sports stories, and some gaming stories. I do upload every week on my personal channel. Again, I will put that link in the description, along with other links where we base our information off of. And that'll be in the description. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day or night.
Yeah, and
Peace out.
just once again, you know, thank you for tuning in and welcome to the Cabral and Salisbury Show. Welcome to Gridiron Gaming, and you know, we hope to see you soon.
And